Howdy, friends, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're coming to you straight from the heart of Overton County, Tennessee, right here in our cozy little studio. So glad y'all could join us for what I reckon promises to be a truly insightful deep dive today. Now, usually we're unpacking all sorts of, well, worldly topics, but today we're casting our gaze a little higher, maybe a little deeper. We're going to explore the profound teachings of two influential spiritual thinkers, Alan Watts and Ram Dass. Now, their paths, they might seem a bit different from our usual discussions, yeah, but their insights on moving, from separation to unity, intuition, and trust, well, they offer universal truths that resonate deeply, especially, I think, in these modern times when folks are feeling a good bit of stress and anxiety.
That's absolutely right. Our mission today, it's really to gently unpack their wisdom. Find those, pure nuggets of insight tucked away in the source materials you shared.
Yeah.
That briefing document, the podcast transcripts, those compilations of their work. We want to see how their understanding of reality and the human condition, how it might just bring a little more peace, a little more clarity maybe to our lives. Kind of like finding your bearings on a winding country road around Livingston when you thought you were, completely lost.
Yeah, finding your way back home. So he identifies this core human problem, doesn't he? This myth of separation. For so many folks, that's just their lived reality. How does he propose we even begin to see past something so ingrained?
Well, Watt's core insight here is that deep-seated belief in being isolated individuals, what he calls the inside your skin delusion, is actually a fundamental misconception, a big one. He suggests that if you believe you're only inside your skin, you kind of define yourself as one very complicated little curlicue way out in space.
Mm-hmm.
Just a tiny isolated squiggle separated from everything else.
A little curlicue, huh? Sounds kind of lonely.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But the really transformative takeaway is that Watts believed you and I were still connected to the Big Bang, to the original force of the universe. He puts it so vividly, doesn't he? You and I are all as much continuous with the physical universe as a wave is continuous with the ocean. He says the ocean waves and the universe peoples.
The universe peoples. I like that. It's a powerful picture, all right. Like, We're not separate drops, but part of the whole dang river.
Exactly. We're manifestations of the universe itself, not just visitors passing through.
But that inside your skin idea, it feels real, doesn't it? And some might say, well, you need a strong sense of who you are to get anything done. How do Watts and Ram Dass square that need for individual identity with this push towards unity? And what happens if we, don't square it? What are the consequences?
Right. Watts suggests that when we operate under this ingrained myth of separateness, it leads to a great deal of fear, particularly the fear of death. He describes perceiving oneself as just a fluke, like a separate event moving from the maternity ward to the crematorium, and that's it. Poof.
Just a blip? That's kind of bleak.
It is. And he says this also breeds a kind of hostility to the external world.
Yeah.
A constant feeling of being exposed, on guard, like a squirrel trying to cross I-40 without looking, always feeling vulnerable,
Huh. Yeah, I can picture that, always looking over your shoulder.
Mm-hmm. And Ram Dass, he offers a similar take, actually. He notes we start life with an undifferentiated self at birth, meaning we haven't yet formed those sharp boundaries of me versus not me. Think of a baby, right? Completely immersed. But then society, family, these start training us into somebody's specialness.
Yeah, somebody's specialness. So that's what kind of covers up that original connection.
Exactly. It veils our inherent connection to unity. He points out how other cultures, he mentions Native America specifically, they always knew they were interdependent, and it was just understood. While Western society is like, suddenly, wow, we're interdependent. Wow, imagine that physics is right. Like, it's a brand new discovery.
Right, like we're just catching up.
Yeah. And Watts, he really stresses the urgency here. We need to overcome this illusion, he warns, otherwise we're going to go out of our heads.
Go out of our heads. This sounds serious. Okay, so if that's the illusion, how do we journey back to wholeness? Ram Dass talks a lot about his own journey, doesn't he? Going from somebody to nobody and then back again. But balanced. It's not about wiping the slate clean, right? More like expanding.
Precisely. Expanding is a good word. He explains it like a pendulum of awakening. Initially, when people start to wake up to this unity, they might tend to push away diversity and grab at the unity. It's natural. You want to feel at home in the universe. Again, find that connection.
Makes sense. You find something good, you want to hold on to it tight.
Right. But Ram Dass cautions to just acknowledge the unity and to push away your diversity. That's imbalance too. Tick. The goal isn't denying our unique self, our God-given talents and quirks. It's about integrating that individuality with our interconnectedness, finding the harmony.
That blending.
That,
Blending humanity and divinity. That sounds, well, almost like a paradox to how we usually think, doesn't it? Is there a danger, you reckon, in chasing that oneness, that you might lose your own unique self, the you that God made?
that's a really thoughtful question. And Ram Dass, he addresses it head on. The ultimate aim is that blending of humanity and divinity. But not, and this is key, not at the expense of our unique human experience. He talks about this powerful realization he had, guided by a being he called Emmanuel, that he needed to try being human, not just focus on being holy.
Try being human.
So embrace the whole mess.
Exactly. He came to understand that as long as I pushed anything in the universe away, I wasn't going to be free. And that word free, it included the highs and the lows free, included at all and everything is good.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the whole blessed thing, the beauty, the struggle, the joy, the sorrow. It's all part of it.
Yeah, embracing it all, like living in what he calls creative tension. Is that right? Seeing simultaneously the perfection and also to experience the pain. Being fully yourself as a diverse, unique entity and fully everything all at once. Kind of like a farmer here in Overton County, right? Has to accept the drought and the downpour to grow a good crop. Can't just wish away the hard parts. It's all part of God's plan, part of the tapestry. That's a perfect analogy. It is all part of the process.
And Watts, he brings in that Taoist idea, Wu Wei. Am I saying that right?
Wu Wei, yeah. It means essentially not forcing.
Not forcing. Okay. He says it's not a matter of cultivated passivity, though. It's more like the art of sailing rather than the art of rowing, working with the current, not fighting it.
That sounds pretty radical, doesn't it? Just relinquishing that conscious, forced control we cling to. Watts explains this profound paradox. The more, therefore, you relinquish power, trust others, the more powerful you become.
Relinquish power to gain power. How does that work?
Well, he suggests it's about delegating authority, trusting the universe, trusting others, much like our own bodies do, right? We don't consciously manage every single cell working away inside us. We don't tell our heart to beat or our lungs to breathe, do we? There's an inherent wisdom, a trust in the process.
Okay, I see. Letting go of that need to micromanage everything and this trust. It leads us right to intuition, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That's the next crucial piece. Ram Dass describes this shift, moving from knowing the world through conceptual structures, our logic, our analysis, to knowing it intuitively.
So less head, more heart.
In a way, yes. He suggests the thinking mind often reinforces that feeling of separateness, always dissecting, analyzing. But intuition, that connects us to the subject or the seer, that deeper part of us that is, as he puts it, not knowable, but just beavable. Ram Dass actually aimed to change his thinking mind from a master into a servant.
The mind as a servant, not the master. That really flips things, eh? And brings us right back to trust.
It does, full circle. Ram Dass gives what he calls the simple rules of this game. He says, listen to your innermost voice no matter what anybody tells you about how it ought to be. Trust your heart. Don't trust me. You trust your own inner voice. Powerful stuff.
Trust your own inner voice, your own heart. That's central.
And he even says that accepting our areas of distortion, our imperfection, those aren't failings. They're really just opportunities for growth, for learning. Guilt and unworthiness, he explains, they're just hindrances. They weigh you down. The whole journey, he says, involves a constant surrender of who you think you are over and over again.
Constant surrender. Like peeling an onion, maybe? Getting down to that core truth within. And a big practice for this, for quieting that mind servant, is meditation, right? Watts puts it pretty bluntly. The purpose is to shut up and cease from the interminable chatter that goes on inside our skulls. Lord knows that inner chatter can be mighty noisy sometimes.
Oh, indeed it can. And Watts offers a fascinating perspective on meditation's purpose, too. He says it doesn't have a reason or doesn't have a purpose in the way we usually think of purpose. He likens it to music or dancing. The act itself is the point, not some future goal you're trying to reach.
So it's not about getting somewhere with it.
Not really. He says, meditation is the discovery that the point of life is always arrived at in the immediate moment. It's about being right here, right now, fully present to what is.
Being present. And from that practice, Watts says, comes this big realization that time is always now. There is only a present, only an eternal now.
Whoa! In that state, he says the perceived difference between what you are as knower and what you are as the known just dissolves. It all becomes one doing, one happening. Like you and the universe are just flowing together.
Exactly. And here's where it gets truly thought-provoking. Watts has this provocative suggestion. He says, to go out of your mind at least once a day is tremendously important, because by going out of your mind, you come to your senses.
Go out of your mind to come to your senses. Huh. That sounds backwards, but I think I get it. It's about finding that deep peace right where you are, that quiet calm, like listening to the crickets on a warm summer night down in Rickman, just sitting on the porch, letting the mind rest and just being, letting your senses wake up.
Beautifully put, finding that stillness within the moment.
Now, this is all profound stuff, really deep, but how do we, apply it? How do we take these teachings and walk with them daily, keep growing spiritually? Ram Dass, he asserts we already have all the ingredients you need to become totally realized, right here, right now. He even says lack of faith is the only real hindrance. Wow, suggests we don't need some big external fix, maybe. The potential's already inside us.
That's exactly his point. And here's some encouraging news for anyone out there feeling discouraged on their path. Those difficult experiences like depressions or feeling really down, Ram Dass says they're not setbacks. Not at all. They're simply part of the process.
Part of the process, even the really hard stuff.
Even the hard stuff. He says they offer us teaching specifically about our attachments, our clingings. He reminds us the only reason the marketplace brings you down is because of your own desires. It's an inside job, ultimately. Understanding our own reactions, our own hearts. An inside job. Makes you think. So this journey, then, it involves cycles. Yeah, cycles of getting lost, awakening, forgetting, remembering. Sounds familiar. The key, Ram Dass emphasizes, is not to get bogged down in guilt and shame when you stumble or forget, but to just get up, brush yourself off, and get on with it. Keep striving, keep turning back to the light, just like our Lord taught us. Persistent, gentle resilience.
Exactly. And that persistence, that gentle resilience, it deepens our faith over time. He talks about when faith is flickery, there's that fear, that anxiety about losing the connection, feeling like you've fallen away maybe. But when faith grows strong, one simply knows deep down they really can't lose it. It's always there.
That unshakable knowing.
Yes. And that kind of steadfast faith, it allows you to, as he puts it, dramatically, much more freely throw yourself into life.
Mm-hmm.
Less holding back, more open-hearted engagement. It becomes a profound wellspring of peace, as clear and deep, you might say, as the waters of Dale Hollow Lake right here.
Ah, Dale Hollow. That's a beautiful image. Well, friends, we have certainly covered a profound journey together today on the Deep Dive. We've explored how Allan Watts and Ram Dass, coming from their own unique spiritual paths, they really uncovered timeless truths. Truths about unity, intuition, and trust. And these aren't just, abstract ideas from far-off places. They're echoes of wisdom, I believe, that can guide us right here in Overton County in our daily lives, and maybe deepen our understanding of our own precious faith journeys, too.
And as you sit with all this, maybe consider this thought. How does recognizing ourselves as truly part of the eternal universe, not just some small, separate piece, how does that call us not only to seek inner peace, which is vital, but also to act? To act with what Ram Dass calls impeccable warrior intuitive action, right from a full human heart. Action that works to relieve suffering in the world, even while we're learning to see life's inherent perfection. What does it truly mean for you to embrace both the light and the dark within yourself, within life? And how might that embracing deepen our compassion for all of God's creation right here, right now?
Something powerful to chew on there. Friends, we truly hope this deep dive has stirred your spirit. Hope it's given you something good to ponder right here in Overton County. If these words touched your heart, if you maybe found a little light in this conversation, we'd be truly blessed if you take just a moment to like this deep dive. Maybe leave us a comment down below about what resonated with you most. We love hearing from y'all. And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. It surely helps us keep spreading these good words far and wide. Bless your hearts. And now, as we close our time together, let us offer a heartfelt prayer. For all humanity, Lord, and especially for each precious soul listening right now. May God's abundant grace be upon each of you. May your hearts be open wide to divine wisdom. May your minds find true peace in the eternal now. And may your lives be filled brimming over with purpose and boundless Christ-like love. Amen. And to each and every one of y'all listening out there, from Rickman all the way over to Monterey, from Livingston down towards Cookeville Way, thank you kindly for joining us on this journey today. We appreciate you more than words can rightly say. Until next time, friends, keep your light shining bright.